Chika woke up before dawn, as she always did, to start the day's chores. She lived in a small village with her daughter, Blessing, and their daily struggles for food were a constant challenge. Chika's husband had passed away a few years ago, leaving her to care for their young daughter alone. As she stepped outside into the crisp morning air, Chika took a deep breath and began to fetch water from the nearby well. The sun was slowly rising, casting a warm glow over the village. She filled her bucket and headed back to her small hut, where Blessing was still sleeping. Just as Chika was about to start the day's cooking, she heard a knock on the door. It was her sister, Chinasa, who lived in the city. Chinasa was always impeccably dressed and carried herself with confidence. Chika was envious of her sister's success and the opportunities the city provided. "Chinasa, what brings you here?" Chika asked, surprised by her sister's visit. "I've come to take Blessing to the city with me," Chinasa replied, smiling. "I want to give her a better life, and I have a plan to make it happen." Chika was hesitant at first, but Chinasa's persistence eventually won her over. She agreed to let Blessing go with Chinasa, trusting her sister to take care of her daughter. As they prepared to leave, Chika called Blessing aside and gave her some final words of advice. "Always listen to your aunt and do as she says," she told her. "She will take care of you and provide you with a better life." Blessing nodded obediently, unaware of the journey that lay ahead. As they set off towards the city, Chika watched them go with a mix of emotions. She was sad to see her daughter leave, but she was also hopeful that Blessing would have a better life with Chinasa. As they traveled, Blessing couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement. She had never been to the city before, and she was eager to see what it had to offer. Chinasa seemed kind and caring, and Blessing trusted her completely. But as the days passed, Blessing began to notice that something was off. Chinasa seemed to be hiding something, and Blessing couldn't shake the feeling that she was in danger. One night, as they were walking through the city streets, Chinasa stopped suddenly and looked around nervously. "We need to get out of here," she whispered to Blessing. "Now." Blessing's heart began to racing as Chinasa grabbed her hand and pulled her through the crowded streets. She didn't know what was happening, but she knew that she needed to get away from Chinasa. As they turned a corner, Blessing saw a group of men waiting for them. They were smiling and laughing, but Blessing could sense the evil in their eyes. Suddenly, Chinasa pushed Blessing towards the men, and they grabbed her, holding her in place. Blessing struggled and kicked, but they were too strong. As she looked up at Chinasa, Blessing saw a smile on her face. "You're going to make me rich," Chinasa said, her eyes gleaming with greed. Blessing's world went dark as the men dragged her away, leaving Chinasa behind. She didn't know what was happening, but she knew that she was in grave danger. As the days passed, Blessing found herself trapped in a living nightmare. She was forced to do things she didn't want to do, and she was treated like a slave. But Blessing refused to give up. She knew that she had to escape, no matter what it took. She began to plan, looking for any opportunity to break free. And then, one day, she saw her chance. The men were distracted, and Blessing knew that it was now or never. She made a run for it, dashing out of the room and into the streets. She didn't know where she was going, but she knew that she had to get away. She ran as fast as she could, her heart pounding in her chest. Finally, after what seemed like hours, Blessing saw a police station in the distance. She ran towards it, hoping against hope that she would be safe. As she burst through the doors, Blessing was greeted by a kind-faced officer. "Please help me," she begged, tears streaming down her face. The officer nodded, his expression serious. "We'll do everything we can to help you," he promised. As Blessing told her story, the officer listened with a growing sense of outrage. When she finished, he nodded grimly. "We'll find your aunt and bring her to justice," he promised. Blessing nodded, feeling a sense of relief wash over. As the officer began to make calls and arrange for Blessing's safety, Blessing couldn't help but feel a sense of relief wash over her. She had finally escaped the nightmare she had been living in, and she knew that she would never have to go through that again. The officer took Blessing to a safe house, where she was given food, clothes, and medical attention. Blessing was amazed by the kindness of the people around her, and she felt grateful to be alive. As the days passed, Blessing began to heal. She started attending therapy sessions, where she talked about her experiences and work.